letting go of guys that, that have worked and done what you've asked them to do, and you got to move on, but it's part of what we do. I think we're still going to be pretty fluid here for a few days, with the roster, because we're always looking. But we like where we're at, like where we're going. We got work to do. Fire away.
Chris, it's clear COVID's not going away. It's clear some of your very best players are not vaccinated. As the GM, do you think the leaders of your team should be doing everything they can to protect themselves from the virus? And then also, how do you swallow the fact that this might cost you a game or 2 or 3 this year?
Well, let me put it this way. And I think all of you have been in our locker room. You know the kind of guys we're dealing with here. These are good players who are good people, want to win, great in the community, do everything right. And we put a lot on them. I mean, that's part of who we are, is that we put on a lot on the locker room to hold each other accountable, and they know the standard of what we have. And I trust that they'll do that. I don't ever live in a world where you're always thinking about, I don't live in a glass half empty world. I just don't. I always think about the positive, I always see the positive, and whatever happens, we will deal with. That's kind of what we've done every time since we've been here. Anything negative happens, we keep rolling. I mean, I still go back to Barry, Coach Alvarez, in college. I mean, it echoes through my head all the time. Don't flinch. No matter what happens, don't flinch. There's going to be problems. There's going to be problems in every season. There's going to be injury. There's going to be breakthrough cases. There's going to be COVID. Let me finish. There's going to be COVID. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to every team. You move forward. I don't sit here and worry about the negative. We know the protocols. We know what we need to handle, and that's what we'll do.
Well, with that said, though, Chris, your players are saying the right things now and saying everything's fine, but let it be November, December, and you have a close contact several days before a game. How do you guys handle that inside the locker room? And as a general manager, how do you feel about your team being one of the lowest vaccinated teams in the NFL, knowing not only football, but just wanting to be vaccinated and be healthy from a whole?
No, I mean, look, and it's a fair question. Those are fair questions that you're asking. We got to make sure we have enough depth. That's critical. We have to make sure we have it covered at every position. And those guys the guys that have chosen not to be vaccinated, they've got to follow the protocols to a T. Because if there's consequences with not being vaccinated, we talked about this the last time. Do I think everybody should be vaccinated? Absolutely, I do. I am for the vaccine. Frank is for the vaccine. We have a lot of guys on our team that are for the vaccine. And I want to make sure that people understand that, around our community, that this is a good thing. Is it 100% perfect? No. No, it's not. But it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. It can help you from ending up in the hospital in a critical situation, and it helps stop some of the spread, and those are positive things. But for the guys who have chosen to not get vaccinated, they understand that they're still part of this team. That's their decision, but they're still part of our team, and they have to take care of the team. They have to protect the team. We've talked a lot about that. They have to protect the team. And being on the field, because some of our really good players, they've got to do everything they can to protect the team. And them playing helps us win. So they got to follow the protocols to a T.
You cut the roster to 53, and as you said, it'll be fluid. What percentage are vaccinated right now?
Yeah, I won't get into percentage. I won't get into it. We've got a good amount. It's getting better. Did it go down? No.
Chris, before we get too deep in the weeds with the COVID, any update on T.Y., what you're going to do?
Yeah, we're going to put him on IR.
Not with IR.
No, he'll just be on, regular injury reserve. He'll be back. Surgery went well. He already feels, he's got a ton of relief, feels better. One thing I know about T.Y. Hilton, he's a pretty quick healer. And I think he'll be back, whenever he's ready to go. But I think it's always sooner than, later with him.
Is there an updated timetable on the 3 on the COVID list as of today, when they'll be back?
Yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back soon. They'll be back soon.
As far as TY goes, what exactly was it that he had surgery on? I know it was a disc in his neck, but is there any more detail on that?
No, that's about as detailed as I want to get. It was not a major procedure, something to give him some relief, and it wasn't real intrusive. And he's good. Like, it was instant relief for him.
Barring another COVID situation, are you guys operating under the idea that Carson's starting against Seattle?
He's making really good progress. You know, he's out right now, so this was a week that, you know, he's going to start getting 11-on-11 work. But when he gets back, we'll continue to monitor where he's at, but he's making really good progress.
One last COVID thing, at least for me, for key players in particular, or just unvaccinated guys who are key players, you said they'll follow the protocols to a T. Do you need to maybe go over and above, or will you go over and above? Are there other steps you can take? I know teams last year, for example, protected quarterbacks and different things like that. Will you do anything?
That's a really good question. Yeah, we're actually going to meet with team leadership to go through that, and I would suspect we would take some steps here to make sure that, you know, we're all protected, not only in the building but away from the building. Like we usually do really good. Like I'm almost more concerned about away from the building. You know, we have fans in the stands this year. We're going to have families coming in, players' families coming in. I mean, all of that creates more risk, not only for unvaccinated players, but vaccinated players with the breakthrough cases. So that, you know, that's something we're all going to have to deal with. So that's something we're going to deal with our leadership and work through our team through.
Chris, you had also we talked to Frank the other day about Eric Fisher. It sounds like he is, I mean, beyond close.
Yep.
I mean, are we talking week 1, week 2? Can you give any?
I won't give an exact timetable, but we really like the progress he's made. And you know, when he gets back out here, we'll kind of monitor it and go from there.
Will he be, when he's off COVID, will he be added to the 53?
Yeah, we'll make that decision when he gets off COVID. See where he's at.
I know Ty is going on IR. Are there other players that are going to go on IR?
Yeah, we got a couple more that we're still making. So Ellinger, Sam will go on IR, and we're still monitoring. I'll get an update when I get out here on Desmond, on Patman.
And this is just procedural, but you have to wait until after
After 4
today?
Yeah, we have to wait till after 4.
Obviously, the practice squad, you can carry, you know, a quarterback there. Would you want to have 3 all season long, given your?
Yeah, we'll keep 3. We'll keep 3.
Do you feel the need to have 3 on 53, or just?
Not right now. Not right now. We don't. We'll be at 2 for, you know, right now, but we'll keep 3 all year. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, Chris, what do you make of what's going on down with Jacksonville? With Urban saying what makes a lot of sense to everybody, availability matters. Therefore, vaccine status ought to matter, and yet NFLPA says you can't even say that word out loud. So what do you make of that whole dilemma?
Yeah, we don't play them till win week 9 or 10, so I don't really pay much attention to it, Greg, to be honest with you.
Big picture, though, about your own thought process and all that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, that hadn't fallen into our thought process. Y'all wouldn't be here peppering me like this right now if it did.
When you look at your roster, you finish your cuts, and the roster is fluid, obviously, but you know the majority of your roster. Mm-hmm. What did you think when you take a step back and you look at it on the board?
I mean, I say this every year. You got to go prove it. You got to go earn it. Doesn't matter really now. You know, I mean, you know, it's like after the draft when everybody's all jacked up and excited. Oh man, we just hit a home run, but then reality hits you in the face when they have to actually strap it up and play. We got a ways to go. You know, we got work to do. We're going to be young in some spots, but I like where we're at. I like where we're going. Do I wish we were healthy during training camp and had a full boat to be able to get everybody in the preseason games and practice? But that's just not the hand we were dealt. So we'll deal with it. I do think we'll get better as we go along during this season. And I think that's one of the things that I really appreciate about our coaching staff. You know, they continue to coach and work, and the fundamentals and the technique and the things you need to work on to get better, we work them all season, and I think that's critical. But I like where we're at. I like where we're at.
You've been at home most of January the last 2 years, and I'm wondering, do you watch the playoffs, and how do you watch those games? You almost beat Buffalo. You beat Kansas City the year before, they won the whole thing. How do you watch those games, and does that stay with you as you get going this year, and you know what the expectations are?
Yeah, and you always study, you always want to study the playoff teams. I mean, look, what are they doing? What have they done? How's the roster built? You know, how have they had success? So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I sit and just dial into the playoffs because I struggle with that. I mean, I do. I struggle when we're not in it and playing it. We've been in it 2 of the last 3 years and lost a real tough game to Buffalo last year. And so I struggle with that. But we do study it. We do study it. And, you know, every year's different. Every team's different. And, you know, you always, just because what you did last year doesn't mean anything. And I think every team would tell you the same thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, and it's such a, you don't know from week to week what's going to happen. You know, what injuries are going to happen. You know, what bad call or a fumble. You just don't know. So you play it out. You just got to play it out and reset each and every week. I know that's a term that we talk about a lot here, but it's the truth. If you like, I've talked a lot about momentum, and I struggle with momentum. I do, because you've got to reset. I mean, we started out 1-5 here in 18, and everybody had the nail in the coffin, and next thing you know, we're winning a playoff game. Each week's critical. Every week's important. There's no giveaway weeks, and there's not a team on the schedule that can't beat you. There's not. I think we saw it the last game of the year versus Jacksonville, and it was a dogfight, you know, against the team that had the first pick of the draft. So you got to buck up and get ready and go every week.
What do you think of Jacob in training camp, especially there's no guarantee Carson will be back for week 1, and obviously we know who knows what can happen down the road. What did you like about him, and what do you think he needs to work on?
Yeah. I thought he made really good strides. I think y'all all saw that too. And, you know, last year was not being able to get him any preseason work, you know, and really he was the third string quarterback, so minimal reps all year. But what he got was a PhD watching Phillip Rivers play the game. But now you got to go do it. It's different. Like, you can sit in a meeting room and you can sit and practice, but playing in a game's a whole different, you know, level. And it was pretty cool to watch from game 1 to game 2 to game 3. The game start to slow down for him, you know. And I think that's going to be his biggest challenge here going forward, is to continue to play the game. The game's got to get a little slower, and he's got to play faster. And I think he'll continue. The more reps he gets, the better he'll get at it.
Do you feel comfortable with him as your 2 going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, that's who we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who we got. That's who we're going with.
Chris, adding the 2 corners, is that 2 guys you liked when they came out? Is that your disappointment in what that position showed you in camp?
I'll tell you this. Just I was telling Frank this today, that like last year's draft, it was so condensed, you know, because of COVID and school's not playing, kids going back to school. I can't remember the exact number, but we were down 700-800 players, I think, that are usually coming out when you're evaluating the draft. And I thought you could really see it, you know, at cutdown day. You know, usually I'll look up and I'm like, holy cow, man, there's about 10, 15 players we would like to get our hands on. And, you know, just seeing the depth at corner around the league, and then also what's on the street, you know, we just felt we saw 2 guys we like. They have traits that we like, and we wanted to get them on our team.
Did you make any other claims, if any?
What's that?
Did you make any other claims, if any?
No, that's it.
You talked about the way Barry Alvarez said, don't flinch. But did this preseason sort of really, training camp really kind of test that? Because it was one thing after another, significant.
You know, coaching deal, 1-5, quarterback retires. We just keep moving forward, man. We just keep moving forward. I'll say this. I thought about this today, that they don't, I mean, look, they hire us to win. They hire us to win, Frank and I. They hire us to win. And it's easy when it's good, when it's, smooth and smooth sailing. But when we make our money is when it's hard. That's when you make your money. That's when you're really valuable, is when it gets hard.
Chris, Mike Strawn, how much can he contribute in year one?
We'll see. He's coming along. He's got a ways to go, but he's a big, talented guy. It's always interesting in training camp with the young players that, they'll start out really fast, and then reality hits them of the daily, work that has to be put in. They're not used to the workload. They're not used to the volume that they're getting. So you'll see a little bit of a dip, and then all of a sudden they'll spike up again, which I thought we started to see with him. But look, he's a big, talented athlete that has ball skills, that's still learning how to play. So we'll see. We'll start him out, in small doses, and then see how he handles it. And the more he produces, the more you'll get the ball.
What went into keeping 11 defensive linemen?
Because it's D linemen. And they're hard to find.
That's a lot even for you guys.
I know it is. Just kind of where we're at. I just want to make sure early in the season, we don't go short there.
Speaking of short, tight end, are you a little?
Good question.
You're a little thin.
Really, really good question. We got 3 players we really like. We'll add some guys to the practice squad, but it's a position we'll constantly keep our eyes on.
One other thing on the practice squad, does that, with the new, not the new rules, but the carryover rules, don't you sort of have a 69-man roster?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, that's what the beauty of how the rules are now, and plus you're able to move guys up really to get to 55 on game day. So, and that's important, and our guys know it, and that's something we use. I mean, and our players know that. They know that, and our coaching staff knows that. Like those extra 16 guys, they're getting reps during the week just like they're playing. You don't know. I mean, all of a sudden somebody turns an ankle on a Friday, next thing you know, he's up and playing. So it's valuable. It's not just out there to practice. We got to continue to develop and work and get good work, because these are the guys we're going to come up, that's who we're going to first.
Big training camp for Ben. I was going the same direction. Ben Vanagoo. What'd you think of his training camp?
Who?
Ben Vanagoo.
Good. Much better. Much better. It's fun when you watch a guy get confidence. Ben, it's never been he cares, and he's always giving good effort. Then, then you got to start having some success. And it's been fun to watch Ben compete, and he plays hard. He's starting to gain some confidence. Ben's going to help us.
Can you sense the energy that he brought every day out there, or was that something that stood out?
No, look, he's always played hard, but it was early in camp he had some success, and I think it just bled over to the next day. And I know he spent a lot of time with Buck. I can't put enough I can't say enough good things about Buckner. I mean, what luck. I mean, really, what luck. Human being, leader, worker, player. I mean, everything. I mean, all of it. And, we're in here in Indy, but this guy's as good as any defensive player in the National Football League. I mean, he's good, and he stands for all the right things. And it's been fun to watch him, really take that room over. And that's a young room. I mean, that's a young room. I mean, Buck's not old, and Grover's not. I mean, these are young guys, but that room's young. And Buck's been tremendous.
You said he has the pedigree, played in the Super Bowl. Is he the voice in the locker room when everything gets quiet? Are you comfortable saying you have no problem with that being divorced?
I think we got a bunch of voices, but Buck's is heard. Buck's is strong. It's a strong voice, especially on defense.
What's his next level up on the field? Like you said, he's still relatively young.
Last year was pretty freaking impressive. I think, and first year in the scheme, and he's in unbelievable shape, even better shape than he was last year, because we track all that pretty hard. I don't know. I think the sky's the limit. I mean, I do. I think he's got Defensive Player of the Year capabilities. I do.
You said you see the glass half full, but as the GM, you have to prepare for. You know this as well as anybody. What keeps you up at night? Is it a roster spot that's not there yet? Is it COVID? Is it the fact that your starting quarterback has practiced 5 times since July 28th or whatever it is?
I always think we're going to find an answer. I mean, like, I don't weigh it. I don't sit in bed at night thinking we're not going to find an answer. Well, no matter what the problem is. I mean, that's our job, solve problems. That's our job. And I have enough trust and faith in our entire group, from scouting, excellent scouting staff, coaching, to whatever we're dealt, we'll deal with it. I mean, people forget, like at the end of last year, we're playing with our 4th, 5th, 6th tackles and finding ways to win. And you deal with it, and whatever every team has a hole. I mean, let's be, I know right now you got every team has holes. Every team has a hole and something that they got to play around. Who does it better? Who does it better?
Just given Carson's vaccination status, do you feel the need to isolate a quarterback?
We didn't do it last year. We didn't do that last year. But we will be extra careful, how we meet, especially inside the building. We'll be extra careful. We were extra careful last year also.
You mentioned you don't let this consume you. How do you not let this consume you with the unvaccinated guys? Especially, you have so many very important starters who are not vaccinated. As a general manager, is it hard not to let you not get consumed? Because, I mean, I know you talked about depth, but the reality is these guys are starters for a reason.
I don't know. Look, I could beat my head against the wall. I could go in there and raise all kinds of hell and go off, and that's just not how we roll, man. I believe in our guys. I believe in what they stand for, and I'll stand by them. We'll continue to work on the vaccination. It's not like we're done. It's not like we're done educating. And they know the importance of team. They understand the importance of team. And I can already see the comments on, after making that statement. But they understand that they have to take care of the protocols at hand, and they have to live by them. And we'll do that at the best of the ability we can do it.
What's been your impression of the way Carson's handled? This can't be the way he wanted to start his career with the Colts in terms of the injury, in terms of being out of COVID. What's been your impression of the way he's responded to that?
I mean, look, he's worked his butt off, been a good teammate. He absolutely, when the foot thing happened, I mean, I could see the frustration, but I also saw another look like I'm playing. Like, let's get it out and let's go to work, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. My career didn't start out real good here either, if you remember.
Whatever.
Sometimes there's, like we now I'll get philosophical on you, but like we judge things in the moment, good or bad, when we really don't freaking know. Like we really don't know. We want to know and we want to make a judgment on it, but we really don't know. You gotta let it play out. Let's just let it play out. Let it play out. Then you can kick me in the teeth.